Mm, mm. Hey y'all, welcome back viewers to another episode of ENC Question Reflection. Before we get started, I do want to go ahead and remind you that if you have not done so already, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. Also, make sure that when you select all that you make sure that you actually hit all and don't be hitting personalized, because then you ain't going to get none of the material or the lives or the premieres. Also, make sure that you like, comment, and share this video. It's right underneath the video. Go ahead and hit that like button on your way in. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So today we're going to be talking about generational wealth. And I would like to go ahead and introduce y'all to Sophie. And Sophia is going to be, me and her are going to be talking about this today. So, Sophie, do you want to say anything before we jump into this conversation?
I'm going to say this, only family get to call me Sophie. To everybody else, I'm Sophia. But no, I'm just happy. Family right there, that's fam. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be here, see how things go. I'm proud of you ladies, so let's do this thing.
Thank you, Sophie. So, look, this is a conversation that I know it's a really, really difficult conversation for a lot of people to understand, I guess. I actually had to look it up because, you know how I am about the English language. Everything means like different stuff. So when I was researching it, I was like, look, generational wealth, how important is it? Especially with like me doing life insurance, and then I do, teach people about financial like knowledge, education, financial education, teaching people how they can save money, teaching people how sometimes they get ripped off on life insurance. They can actually, not do it the way that they think they're supposed to do it and actually come out a lot different, a lot better. So when you think of generational wealth, what do you think of?
When I think of generational wealth, I think of leaving something back for my children that they can benefit from, that they can use in their life to help them succeed. Not start from the bottom, not have absolutely nothing to start from. So it's basically a foundation that is laid down for them to be able to have I would say a head start that most of us did not get.
Yeah, so it's like wealth that's passed down from one generation to another.
It's wealth, it's businesses, it takes different forms. Yes.
What entails generational wealth? I mean, is that just like saving up something and then you just pass it down to somebody?
No, it's building a legacy. Say you own a business. Most people think about, they have their jobs and all this other stuff. A job cannot be passed down to your child.
Right.
So you could be chief executive officer such and such at your job, and then you pass away and your kids have nothing because they didn't accomplish that, you did. So when I think of generational wealth, I think of it more as, okay, say if I go start a business today and that business becomes lucrative, something happened to me, I'll be able to pass that business down to my children and they can basically pick up where I left off. And also there's many different ways, even real estate. Real estate is one, purchasing homes and that type of stuff. Those types of things can be passed down from your kids to your grandkids. Like if you keep that stuff in the family, it's an asset.
Okay. So like anything that you can, anything material that you can really kind of put back, kind of like inheritance kind of thing where, you can take that and you can.
Kind of like inheritance. They still have like mutual funds and things of that nature that we could pay into now that our children will benefit from later. There's trust funds. There's all kinds of, like you saying, you teach about financial education. There's lots of financial tools available that a lot of people aren't privy to. So it is basically, it's basically leaving something for them to start with. It's not having them start from the bottom of the barrel. It's having some kind of knowledge of financial wealth also. Like you have to know how to use your money, how to make your money work for you in order for it to grow. So it goes back to just knowledge, knowing knowing what is what.
So it makes me think of generational wealth. It makes me think of really being able to set future generations up so that they're not tied down by the economy that we struggle with now.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. So
putting them outside of that bubble, putting them on the opposite side of that bubble, outside of the box. We don't want them to be stuck in the same routines your grandmother did, her mom did. We want to break those generational curses, as they call them. Yeah. Not being used to not having any money, not wanting to get the knowledge, should I say, because that comes as taught. Like I didn't learn, let me use me specifically, I didn't learn growing up how to deal with credit cards, how to, pay bills, like the importance of paying your bills on time and all that other stuff. I found that out on my own. I found out from trials and tribulations and bill collectors calling and things of that nature, and I figured it out. So it's like I took it upon myself to learn it. So I'm going to make sure I pass the knowledge down to my children so they don't have to stumble like I did and, get credit cards or get a cell phone and mess up their credit before they even know what credit is. So I learned the knowledge so I could pass it down.
There was a lady one time I knew, she got credit cards and then she paid to have her children on as authorized users so that she was building their credit. And by the time they were 18, she was saying, my daughter drives a better car than I do because I helped her build that. Yep. So financial education and knowledge, I guess, teaching your child that financial knowledge could be a form of, giving them, because wealth, when I think of the word wealth, I don't just think of the material things. I really think of anything that could help them or benefit them to the generations to come. Because, you got a lot of parents who don't teach their children how to count money. Look at Floyd Mayweather. I heard he can't even read.
Right.
Even though he's making money and stuff like that, but it didn't come from, his parents. It came from something. I mean, I think his dad and his uncle were training him. But when I mean financially speaking, the wealth part of it, he didn't even know how to read, and he still made it. So any small things like that can contribute to generational wealth. So you were looking at things like real estate, financial education, financial knowledge, investments, annuities, mutual funds. Anything like that really is things that we can pass down from one generation to another.
That, for me, yes, because those things are what build. I'm going to make sure I use the right word here. Basically, it's an asset, so it grows. It continues to grow. So no liabilities. I want to teach them, the difference between assets and liabilities, because they need to know, okay, over here, you just bought a brand new car off the lot, and guess what? Now it's not worth what you just paid for it. So it's giving them the knowledge to know, okay, hey, maybe your first car should probably be, something a little used. That way you get the best price. So it's, say what did you say?
Or paid for.
Or paid for, definitely. That's even better because nobody wants payments. Like we know these things now as adults. When you were younger, it's like, oh, I got the new car, I got the new cell phone, I got the new this. And you're like, what benefit are these things? What benefit? They don't benefit me at all. Yeah, it's nice to ride around in a new car, but when it breaks down, parts still cost a lot of money. You still have to, pay the insurance, which is probably going to be a little higher depending on what kind of car it is. You get that little sports car, you think life is going to be good, and that insurance is kicking your butt. You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of things when I say generational wealth, it's passing down that knowledge. It's passing down. It can be physical assets. It can be those type of things, and it's teaching them how to manage them, which is most important. You got to teach them how to manage them. You can't just give them, here, let me give you 5 houses, a 5-house portfolio, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to just give it to you. And then next thing you know, Those houses have been run to the ground. The tenants in them, they just destroyed the house. Now you out of money because now you got to replace all that. You got to fix all that. So it's giving the knowledge for me. Generational wealth is just gonna be, like you said, setting up for generations to come. Yeah. That way they can benefit. I don't want my grandkids starting from the bottom.
Yeah,
that's just in my mind, because I didn't come from money, so money got to come from me. Is how I feel.
Yeah.
But that's just where I'm at. I'm thinking past where we are right now, where I am in my life right now. I'm thinking past that. I'm thinking down the line, my grandkids.
You know, I watched a seminar on assets and liabilities, and it was crazy because what you think as asset and liability, I didn't. So what he said was, an asset is something you can take from. Because you would think, okay, so me thinking, I know what liabilities and assets are. I'm thinking, okay, well, liabilities is stuff that's going to cost you. Assets are stuff that's not going to cost you.
Right.
When it all boiled down, liabilities are things that are going to cost you, and assets are actually things that are going to bring you money. So I didn't even think about stuff like that. So, like, anything like for instance, a house. He labeled a house as a liability, because a house is gonna cost you. A house, even if it's yours, even if it's owned, you got property tax, you got maintenance, you got all these things. So that house itself is not gonna actually bring you money. It's actually gonna be considered a liability rather than an asset. Same way really with a car, because it's not. He was saying that assets are really things like businesses, annuities with interest, where they can, you put money into them and they build off of it until you get through the annuitization phase, and then none of it it just kind of cuts off and it turns into like trusts and things like that. But it was interesting. The seminar was really interesting because it really broke down the differences between assets and liabilities and how important they are. Now, do you think that generational wealth can actually backfire on you?
The only way I could see it backfiring is if proper education is not given. Mm-hmm. If you have these kids out here who do have the luxury of having generational wealth, and they to that head, you know what I'm saying? They've never had to work for anything a day in their life. Of course, they're not gonna have the same respect for the assets that they have, for the money that they have. So yes, I do feel it can, because it's about the knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, if you train them, you teach them what to do with it, then no. But if you just stealing them, here you go, here baby, here's a couple mil, because mama set it up for you. Here you go. I could see how that could definitely go south. Yeah, south.
Because so generational wealth, you set it up for your kids and then their kids and then their kids. And so if you give one a business, let's say you give them a business, it's that generational wealth will last through the first, may last through the first generation, depending on unless they just kind of go through it. But 70%, it's, where's my number? I know what it says. 70% lose it by the second and 90% by the third. So by the second generation, 70% of them have already lost every bit of that generational wealth. And by the third generation, you're looking at 90% of that entire generational wealth is done.
Right. And that's where knowledge comes in. You got to pass it down. You got to pass, like you said, if you got a business, you have to make sure that you have somebody in that family who is responsible enough. You know what I'm saying? You have to have your matriarch type person, that one that makes sure they pass down the information. The one that doesn't let whatever they've mastered up here dwindle at the bottom. So it all comes to education. It all goes to education. If you know, like you say, you know better, you do better. So once we know better, that's it.
I agree with that. And I definitely say, because if you have your generation and you teach, let's say, we teach our children the importance of the business, and because our children live in the house with us while we build in our business, so they get to be a part of it. And then, if they take our business when we're gone, and they don't have the same passion about it as we did, or they don't really see the value in what it is that we are doing, they're less likely to pass that down to their children. And then if they don't do the same stuff that we did in our house, then, they're not going to pass that down. And I did a video about, it was about who's to blame for our parents or something. I can't remember which one of the videos that it was. It's not coming to my head. I blame parents for the teachings of the children. It's our parents' responsibilities, and it's sad because you really try to prepare for the future. But if you're right, if the education, the financial education itself is not taught, budgeting, if it's not taught, they're going to be calling you before you know it. Mama, my light's going to be cut off.
Yeah.
Can I get $150?
Yeah, it will be. Very true.
There's a video that I just dropped called teaching rejection. And it's about not spoiling your child.
Yes.
And the only I think one of the cons I see in generational wealth is that it's very possible not to necessarily spoil them, like to the fact where they're like throwing temper tantrums and all that stuff. But if they're given, like, just like you were saying, if they're just handed this, they've never had to work for it. They don't see the value in it. It's like the boss. It's like when you're sitting at work and you've been working so hard. And here comes the owner of the company talking about something, you need to do this. And they don't even realize which they're telling you to do don't even work like they want it to. They don't know like you do. And I think that could be a backfire. What you think?
Oh, yeah. I 100% agree. And I go back to this. If you say you buy your child a cell phone or something sort of expensive, right? The way they care for that item that you bought is completely different than the way they'll care for it because they bought it. When they save up their own money and they have to work towards it, oh, honey, you gotta not touch my phone. It's not dropping. It's going in the case. They wiping it down. But when mama buy it, it's being slung across the room. It's in the purse. It's thrown on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got a whole different vibe when they didn't have to work for it.
Heck yeah.
So, yes, definitely. There is pros and cons now. So, you got to be mindful that not all kids are the same. Like you said, you might have a business repairing shoes. He might not want to repair shoes. He might want to go be a skydiving instructor. You know what I'm saying? So that is a con. You might work 20 years and build his business and then not have anybody to pass it down to.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a road you'll have to cross. That's probably something that should be discussed, throughout life. Hey, kids, one day. And then you kind of get a feel for who, you know what I'm saying? You get a feel for how your kids want it. Like, okay, this one might be interested. Might be. Maybe I can show this one the ropes. This one over here ain't gonna do it. This one right here wants to be a rock star. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever the situation or the case may be. So that's why I feel it all comes down to educating and then go from there.
I'm going to agree with that, Sophia, because look, one thing I always teach my kids is investments. And a lot of people will be like, well, that's a lot that's kind of deep to teach a child when your kids are kind of young. Well, because Darian will be 15 in December. Jaden's fixing to be 13, next week, next Friday. And then little Eric already turned 12. I'm already teaching them that because what I tell them is this: don't be ashamed to spend money on something that is going to bring back money to you. So they'll be like, well, Mom, why you spend that much money on a camera? Because when I go do this photo shoot next week, I'm finna receive that money. I'm gonna get that money back. I'm gonna profit off of it. So if you invest it in annuities or mutual funds and you're actually or even life insurance, if you do it right, because like I said, a lot of people do life insurance wrong and they get scammed out of a lot. And I don't even like the word scam, but it kind of is, they get really ripped off.
It is, because the person who sold the policy knew that wasn't the best fit for that person and still went with it. So
yeah. Oh, they mad because you know how I am. I done figured out how to, because some people are like, well, I want whole life insurance, I want term insurance. I hate term insurance because it expires, and I hate whole life because you really don't get the cash value. Because one thing I'll do, I have no problem educating people on how life insurance works. None whatsoever. I have no problem doing it. And I'm completely honest with them because I don't want people to feel like, that they're being ripped off or that information is being left out. I'll straight up tell them. So I done found a real good way to bypass all of that by stacking policies. Oh, they understand it, because I might stack one company on top of another company, but they get to save their age, which means they save money, because what people are doing, so didn't even think about that. What people are doing is they'll sell somebody a policy. Let's say they sell them a term policy and they get their policy for like $12 a month. Okay, great. And you pay $12 for 30 years. Well, after 30 years, you're probably 60 or 70 years old. So now you have to buy a whole life. And do you know how much that's going to cost you?
Oh, yeah, not $12.
Try for about $400 or $500 a month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no. I said, I'm going to sit here and figure this stuff out. And so you're right. Education and understanding, financial education, understanding how things work, not necessarily what's going on, but how things are working. It really helps people, because, what you can teach it. You can teach it to your kids, and, they can follow in your footsteps.
Yes. And then even with the life insurance, like I had a lady say something very, very touching to me. I want to say in August. Not to get on any kind of soapbox or nothing, but she basically just said all those individuals who lost their lives due to police brutality, over the decade, individuals, any color, any race, whatever.
Yeah.
She said, do you think they would have been killed at the rate that they were killed if all of those people had a life insurance policy? If each one of those people had $100,000, $200,000 life insurance policy, the insurance companies would have been begging the cops to like, hey. But even though I know those are case by case basis, not just, one.
I understand what you're trying to say.
One fits all, but during that little spree we had when she said it, I was like, you know what, you're right. Because that's an instant way to leave wealth for the family that wasn't, intending to be, didn't intend for this man to pass away. So that's also very pertinent, because I'm going to speak for the Black community. We don't know too much about these financial gifts that are out there. Mm-hmm. So we gotta make sure that the word is spread and that it's an even playing field. You can't really win the game if you don't know the rules. So life insurance is very valuable, and people don't take part in it because why? No education. We're not educated. And a lot of people, when they do find out about life insurance, they're 45, 50. You know what I'm saying? 30, and they're up in age where now they could have got a policy for half that price. Now it's double because why?
Yep. Every year you turn an age, it goes up. And they don't get it before they get sick. They don't get it before it's seen. And that's why I left Primerica, because after researching really what they had, I didn't like that I wasn't able to help multiple people, because it's hard to get a certain insurance with Primerica because it's a term policy. And on top of that, they have a lot of stipulations. Yeah, they're a great company. It's a great term product for young people.
Right.
It's not a great product for old people, because the thing is, they're teaching, which is a really great lesson to learn, is to buy term and invest the difference. So you buy the term, and then you take the amount that you would be paying on whole life, and you save it, put it into annuity, and it'll build interest. And then by the time you need whole life, you won't need insurance at all. And it's great. But the thing is what about the people who are 45 already, who are 50 and 60 years old and probably a little too old for term, or even if they were to invest the difference, by the time they retire, that's not going to be enough money to do anything with them for them.
Right.
You know? So I was like, look, I would rather be open my own brokerage and, be able to help multiple people. So I can help people who have, HIV and cancers and heart things, whereas I couldn't have done that before. But it goes back to being able to educate.
That's cool. I love it. I love it.
I didn't like not being able to help. You can't help anybody. And it made me feel bad because a couple of people that I wrote policies on, I actually had to go back because it just weighed on my heart. I had to go back and say, hey, this product isn't going to be good for you. Let me switch this really quick because I got something different that is going to work better. I'm all about that. Right. Yeah. I'm all about doing that. And it is good. It's a good generational wealth. But one of our, I won't say his name, but you'll know, you might know who I'm talking about. One of my brothers specifically said he don't want life insurance. And I was like, why? What you mean you don't want life insurance?
Right.
And he said, because I don't want none of my kids to get rich off of me. And so that's what they think about, because when people pass, they're just like, I don't care, I'm going to be dead.
Right. It doesn't matter what burdens I leave here for the people behind. I'm be gone. I'll have no worries.
So they don't care about it anymore. They're like, forget it. I've been
going this long without it. Why get it now? Yeah. That mentality, that's a mentality I do not want to pass down. Because like I said, I didn't learn about nothing financial, and I love my mama to death, but I don't think she still got it together where she need to have it at. So being that I had to learn that knowledge for me, that is something that I'm for sure, like my oldest daughter has stock already. So I teach investments, I teach ownership, I teach not necessarily being the worker, but being the boss, like owning your own business. Working for yourself. Those are just things that I put into their head. Like we're not working for nobody. Y'all gotta think bigger than that. You gotta think, why go to work for somebody else for 40, 50, 60, however many hours and make them rich, and then come home and all you want to do is lay on the couch, watch TV. You know what I'm saying? For yourself. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. One, we taught our oldest one, we were having a little lesson in the house, and it was in the beginning when I first started doing it, because when you own your own businesses, you really technically work on commission. Technically. Yeah. And I had to break it down, and I had to say, if I were, for $11, $12 an hour for 40 hours a week, this is how much money I'm going to make. But if I go and I write this many policies, or I do this many photo shoots, I'm going to make this amount of money, and it don't take me near as long. A photo shoot don't take nothing but maybe an hour, maybe hour and a half, Now the editing, that part takes a little bit longer, but it's definitely not 40 hours.
Right.
The amount of time that you put in is definitely different, and you come out making more money that way. So, and I think that our system is actually, it's actually programmed for people to work for other people.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't have a lot of Black-owned businesses, especially in the Black community. We don't have a lot of Black-owned businesses, because that's what's being taught. You go to work, you come home, you go to work, you bring in the money, you got a minimum wage, and they're okay with that. They're not taught to, let's step it up.
Then you got the people who work multiple jobs. It's really like you're selling your time. What is your time worth for you to be selling your time? Like, when do you have time for yourself? And then most people pay rent or own a home or XYZ. I'm like, but you're never there. you're gone for 80 to 100 hours a month, like probably more than that. I don't know how the regular the hour scales go, but
like 160, 200.
yeah, like you're basically paying some high rent for a high storage bill. You are. It's holding your things. It's holding your things. You paying a water bill that you only use a couple times a day. You paying electric. You know what I'm saying? You paying all these liabilities.
Yeah.
And for what? For what? For what? Like with a house, like we talked about a house.
Mm-hmm.
The maintenance alone, HOA fees, like, oh, you think you're really making out? You're not. When you're renting, you pay the rent and you pay whatever couple utilities that you pay, but you have a maintenance man that's on call. Like, he comes to fix that. The landlord is responsible. Your AC breakdown, they have to fix that. That's not coming out of your pocket. So for me, I'm really not interested in buying a house. That's not one of my main goals, but I am interested in purchasing homes for either rental properties or something of that nature. Investments only, not for me myself. Because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the gentleman made a very good point. He said homes are stationary. When you sign those mortgages, that's 30 years or however many years that you agreed to pay for that home. But if you want to you just want to up and leave. Like you can't just leave. You know what I'm saying? Your lease isn't up. You don't have a lease. It's your mortgage. So you got to go through all the process of selling that home. You might lose. If the market's down, you might lose. You might end up selling it for less than you bought it for. So then what was the high price storage? Okay.
Well, so I used to think like that too, Sophia. And the thing is, look, it can go both ways.
Mm. Oh yeah, it's always
my mother-in-law tell you she'd rather rent. Well, it's a reason she says that, because once I went and I told her what I'm about to tell you, she was like, "Oh, that does make sense." So these people they'll pay money to rent a home so that they can have maintenance. Mm-hmm. They'll pay there's that thing that it's like $200 a month, and if anything in your house breaks down, you know what I'm saying? It's a So instead of paying that, if you took that money that you could have, because look at it. Let's say you pay $900 a month for to rent a house. Mm-hmm. You could pay $300-$400 to buy a house. And remember I said invest the difference? You could take that money, that extra amount of money that you have available that hasn't been allocated anywhere because now you own a house. You take that money and you put that money somewhere else. So in case something does break, you can fix it. But you're definitely not going to be using all that money that rent people are investing, because stuff don't break down every month. Not every month it don't. Not every single month. But they might buy your house. They'll take 500 of them, not even that, maybe $400 of it. They'll take $400 of it. They will pay the mortgage company. Mm-hmm. They'll pay the insurance company, which might be $150 or something like that. So now you're looking at $650. So the rest of it's $250. They'll take that and they'll just it's mine, because they are not going to be fixing stuff in your house every single month. So you take that 250 times 12 is what? I'm going to do the math. 250 times 12, $3,000 that you just put out, that you didn't have to put out, but because you could have maintenance going on, so you could save them $3,000. I think an air conditioner might cost that, but if a refrigerator breaks down, you don't have to. Refrigerator might cost you $500. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. So it's about investing into your own future. If you continue to rent. Why do you think so many people are getting into rental properties and investing? Because it's good money, because you can take that money, and people don't want the hassle of taking care of a house. So they're just, here, you can take them $250 because I don't feel like doing nothing. And then, and some people are like that. Mm-hmm. Some people don't necessarily see it like that. When you buy investments, or you trying to generational wealth, and take them real estate or take that property, I don't think I agree with buying a house and leaving it to somebody who's got to pay on it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an inheritance.
So I'm gonna use this example real quick. My grandfather built the house that they lived in right from the ground, so it was on free and clear. But my grandfather and my grandfather and my grandmother passed away. Excuse me. They left the house to their 4 children.
All
Right?
That's a fight. Okay.
You hear me? So, so that's it. More so than it being a fight, it's more so like a I'm gonna say it's a burden
Oh,
because the only person that is in the state with the house or in the city with the house is my mom.
okay.
So it's almost kind of like she's expected to keep it up because she lives here. You know,
Property taxes.
the property taxes can get up there, and she's the only person out of the 4 that's trying to do something with the house. So therefore, it's kind of like supposed to be an asset, right? It's supposed to be able to use it, but it's not in the best shape. So therefore, it's just kind of sitting.
Oh, I know what house you're talking about.
Yeah. So like it's a decrepit house. So it's supposed to be an asset, but it's really becoming a liability because you can't put anybody in there because it's not livable. But the taxes are still
They're still gonna come. That's
still
right.
got to be paid. So that just leads me to think of, okay, so what if I decide to buy my house and I have 2 daughters and I'm in Texas. Neither one of them want to live in Texas in that house that I bought and paid for. Neither one of them want to live there. So now that house is just there. Like, what are we gonna do with that house?
Yeah.
So property taxes are still gonna mount up. They're probably gonna want to. Hey, we should just. In my mind, they would probably get together and be like, we should just sell the house. We don't want to be in Texas. I'm in Vegas. You in New York. Wherever they are, nobody wants to live there. So they either have the option of renting it out if it's in good shape or selling it. So that's just what I think about when it comes to like a house in a physical location. My husband's parents live in Texas. They have a house. It's paid for.
Yeah.
They've been in there 30 years. It's paid for. But who wants to move there? He has 2 kids. So who's gonna move? Who's gonna stay? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's just, it's just a hassle. I'd rather not. I guess if I ain't here, I ain't got to deal with it. But that's just something I think about when it comes to a house. And that's only because I've seen my grandma's house be, pulled in 4 ways and not pulled at the same time.
It is. It's a whole argument. I mean, I definitely understand because Eric's family has a house that his brothers and sisters, they will fuss over. One person pays you got people are trying to divide up the property tax, and you have some people who don't care about the house. So, I'm not going
Why
to
should I pay for it? Exactly.
There's a big argument about it. There's a movie called, I think it's called I'm going to look. It's such a good movie, and I was trying to look it up before we got on here. But it's a movie. It's got, is it Morgan Freeman in it? I think it's got Morgan Freeman in it. But what it is, it's a movie about a man who owns like $1 billion like industry.
Mm-hmm.
And he, his grandson, he hasn't had anything to do with his grandson for a while, something about a family issue or something like that. And he comes in, he's like, he comes to the thing, after he passes, I guess they have this little thing where they all get together and money goes where, money goes here, money goes there. And he's giving money to this, you ain't getting that. It's funny how he gives out all the money, but his grandson, he says, it's called The Gift. It's called A Gift. I'll look it up. Now I'm going to look it up. He has this gift. I'm going to make Eric look it up for me.
You type in.
Because it's called, but what it is he has to go through these different tasks to be able to get whatever. He has no idea what his grandfather is going to give him with the last gift. He has no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, he goes through each one, and like one is the gift of work because he just blew through a trust. Like he just partied it through. Like, so it's like the gift of work. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I said that's what we was just talking about.
Yeah, he blew through a trust. It is such a good movie. I'm gonna have Eric look it up. I'm gonna tell you what it is, but it's a movie. It's just like he has to go through each one, and like one of them, it's a gift of work, and he makes his he has to complete this gift to go to the next one.
Right.
So he's out there. This Joker, his granddaddy, dead and all, makes him build this huge fence. And then he's like, okay, so where's my money? He thinks he's going to get money. He was like, no, that was your gift. So he goes to the next one. It's like the gift of love, the gift of, like, it's a, like, he has
He
to.
was expecting something at the end of the first one, but he realized you got to keep.
Oh my God, it's such. I watched that movie. It is such an awesome movie.
I need to see that because now you might have just gave me some ideas. for like two generations down, like in order for you to get this money, you must first.
It was genius, like genius. It was total genius. And at the end of the movie, he's just like, and the other people who got stuff, they were just like, you know, I know he gave you money. He's like, he gave me nothing. Trust me, I've been working my butt off. He ain't gave me nothing.
Right.
But at the end, he gave him a buttload of. One of the gifts was he had to. It was like $100,000. He couldn't keep a penny of it. He had to give it away. He was like, "Wait, I can keep this.
I got all this money and I can't." But that is real good though, because this teacher, it taught him hard work. I need to watch this movie. I need you to find it because it taught him hard work and taught him how to actually go for something. Since you say he blew through the trust,
Girl, they
now
took
you have to actually work for it.
They took everything. He had a house, he had a condo, and he had a car.
Mm-hmm.
They towed his car, so he couldn't have a car. They kicked him out of his house, so he had to live in the streets. Oh, it's an excellent movie. Oh my gosh.
Sounds like it.
Girl, oh my gosh, I don't even want to tell you no more because it's such a good movie. It's like no matter how many times you watch it, it just never gets old. It's just awesome.
Okay. Oh yeah, when you find the name, please send it to me.
It's like the gift. I'm gonna find it. It's oh my gosh, it's such a good movie. It's got, I think it's Morgan Freeman or pretty sure it's Morgan Freeman. I think it's The Ultimate Gift. The Ultimate Gift.
Okay. The Ultimate Gift.
That's what
you
it's called.
On the right track.
The Ultimate Gift. That's what it's called. It is a fantastic movie, and it goes back to when we were talking about generational wealth backfiring in your face.
Mm-hmm.
You'll end up. It can definitely backfire because I mean, if you don't think it through, if you don't think how important it can be, if you don't really like, if you just were like, you know what, I'm just gonna save all this money and then I'll be able to give it to my grandkids. Yeah, but they're gonna you give them all this money, or you give them all these assets, or you give them all these things that they can, and they don't use them. Then your gift to them is pointless. They didn't do anything with it.
It's almost like you worked super hard to build a legacy for nothing. Yeah, definitely.
So now the next question is, how do you build wealth like that? I mean, that's a whole question. You have to like really, how would you even do that? How would you build a wealth that is flawless? I don't even know if you can even do that.
I don't know about flawless.
You should watch that Ultimate Gift movie and get ideas from him.
I need to watch it. I do need to watch it, but it's hard to say. It's hard to gauge because, like you said, once he's gone, he can't come back. Like, no, I told you to do it like this. There's no guidance once the guidance is gone. So that's where it will come from, passing down that knowledge. So his parent, whoever was the the parent, whatever, that should have been the intermediary.
Yeah.
to learn from our parents. The parents are supposed to teach us the things that we need to know in order to be productive citizens in this here world. So if somewhere that piece is missing, it's kind of hard to say. But
Do you watch NCIS? Do you know the show NCIS?
I used to.
So there's an episode in there where Gibbs' dad dies.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy, because his dad and another guy bought their shop together. They have a little grocery store, a little general store. And he died first, and then his dad died. And he gave the shop to Gibbs.
Mm.
Well, that would be a form of, generational wealth. You build up this shop or this general store, and you pass it down to your son. Well, he turned around and gave it to the boy who had been sweeping his floors the entire year and stocking his shelves. He turned around and just gave it to him because he saw the value in the store more than Gibbs did. Gibbs ain't a grocery store, And I think that do you think that generational wealth is completely necessary, or is it just something that we think to do?
Is it necessary? I would say it is necessary to an extent.
Okay.
To an extent. For me, I know if I can do anything to help my generations along, I will.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. I feel like it is for me. For me and my goals and what I'm trying to accomplish, I feel like it is. Other people may not agree or just not know how to go about it, so therefore they don't even attempt to look into it. It's like, oh, that's something foreign.
Yeah.
So it was introduced to me, and I was like, you know what? Okay. And I follow a lot of pages, entrepreneur type pages on Instagram, and I follow a lot of, basically, I searched the hashtag generational wealth, and that's what I like. Like, those are the type of things I like to see. Like, I had a post that came across my Instagram about a dad. His message was, he started a tradition with his children. He said every child, once they reach the age of 13, he is going to gift them their first rental property. So I'm thinking, like, dang, that's big, because you already setting her up and you showing her what it is to be a business owner, to be a rental property owner. She's going to the properties, checking, seeing what has to be done and making sure things are as they need to be. And I'm thinking to myself, that's an amazing step that this one dad is taking to ensure that his children have the knowledge, not just the asset, but the knowledge to take care of the asset. So I feel like it's pertinent. It should be taught in school. We should have some kind of education about finance and how not to ruin your life. But they don't. They don't give us that. Because like you said, they want us in the mindset of go to school, get a job, go to school, work, sell your hours to somebody else for pennies or for a little bit of nothing, and be comfortable with that. Be good with that. Don't want more. That's where it's at.
I had told Darian, because I was big on teaching the financial education. Understanding about budgeting and understanding, especially teaching boys that they need to have their own before they think about getting girls, and because that's part of getting a man. So I had told him, I said, looky, Darian, you're going to be 15. You'll have 3 more years until you're 18. If you do what I tell you to do, you'll have enough money to buy a house when you're 18. And so he was like, well, what is that, Mom? I said, let's say that you go to work at Publix. Publix starts out at $11 an hour. You know that? They start at $11. So if he works 20 hours a week, if he starts out, he works 20 hours a week, and then that'll be $11,440 a year. So I said, save 65%, 35%, you do what you want with it. So 65% of that is $7,436. If you multiply that times 3, you'll have $22,308 saved in a bank by the time, or saved wherever, by the time you are 18. If you put in an annuity and annuitize it until you're 18, which is 3 years, then you will have even more money because that money will build interest. So educating our young people, because our kids are going to work for these people. These people are paying money, they're taking out taxes. And these kids are like, oh, I got $220. Like, I'm going to go buy some LeBrons that are $200.
Buy me the new Xbox. What? They learning to live paycheck to paycheck from off rip.
And they're being programmed to do that because they're not being programmed to go by with this, either the 75-25 rule or the 65-35 rule. They're not saving. They have no guidance in it. It's just like, okay, I go to work, I come home, I have this paycheck, and bam, I'm fixing to blow this paycheck because I don't know what else to do with it. I ain't got no bills.
I don't have any bills. And it's funny that you say that because just today I was talking to a student and she works at a daycare. She gets her first check on Thursday. And I was telling her, I was like, well, let me tell you what you need to do. Because I don't know if anybody ever told her. So she was, and it was good because she was attentive. She was writing notes. Girl, I was like, what you have to write? What you have to write? All I'm going to tell you, I told her, like, you don't have any bills. I said, before you got this job, you didn't have any money, right?
Right.
Keep living like you don't have any money. Put away. I said, before you splurge or do whatever you need to do, you need to make sure you put money into some form of savings or put it aside or something. Because you do not want to blow your whole check every single payday. Don't do that. So it's like how you told him that. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big knowledge that if we had kids, if they learned this in 9th grade, you know what I'm saying? If they learn in 8th, 7th, 8th grade, by the time they are out of high school, they can buy their own house. They don't have to get a loan. They don't have to do, you know what I'm saying? It's just so much more opportunities available to them if they have that knowledge. When you don't know, you don't know.
They've learned with our first house because we just bought this house. We're buying this house. They've learned so much about fixing up a house.
Yeah.
Painting and wiring and plumbing and all kinds of different things. And so what I was telling them is that you might not buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with $30,000. I said, but you could buy a 1-bedroom studio and flip it. That's what my grandparents did. They started buying something really small. Let's say they buy a small little trailer or whatever. You buy it, you flip it, you resell it. And if that's something that you like to do, then you can continue to do that. And then sometimes when you can buy 2 properties and invest one, live in one, and and I think that we have come to agree that the most important generational wealth that we could ever give them is education.
Yep.
Because they can blow through whatever. We give them a house, they can tear it up, they can have people running through it, and then the equity and that's gone, and you can't liquidate that at all.
Nope.
Mutual funds, they can get that and blow through it. My sister-in-law, I have a brother, and on my biological family, and her mom, she got money when she was like 18 or 19 years old, and she got 2 sets of the money. They had when you added it all up together, it was like $1.3 million. But you would never know that. And this was maybe 8 years ago, maybe 6 or 7, 8 years, something like that. You wouldn't know it because they don't have anything to show for it.
Wait a minute. I would have flipped that 1.3.
But you know what? That's what we're talking about. There's the backside of generational wealth. Her mom passed and her grandma passed, and they left her all this money. And she blew, her and my brother, they blew right through it. And I would not think to give a child under the age of 25 any kind of money like that, because the part of your brain that makes logical decisions or discern decisions, it's not even fully developed. And I'm talking about clothes and shoes and cars and necklaces, and I'm talking about I spent $25,000 on this. You said what? What? How heavy is it? Does it hurt? You can have problems.
Oh yeah. I agree 100%. That's a stipulation that you put in your stuff. You put that in your will, you put that in your trust. Like, you can get this money when you're logically thinking. And until then, you can wait on it, baby.
Right.
Or you get like small amounts.
That's what I would have
to
done.
live on. And then once you are good, then we'll release it. But yeah, I'm not giving that kind of money to a 18-year-old.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And it's just, and that's a perfect example of, you know, a parent giving generational wealth to a young community, and they just blow right through it. I think it backfires, especially if they're not taught what to do with it. You know, and I think me and you are both going to agree on that the most important generational wealth you could ever give is to show kids how things work, how the financial world works, and what to do with it when you get it.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I think financial education is like a good man. If you don't know what to do with it, you ain't gonna keep it.
You ain't gonna keep it. That's so true. That is so true. Like, it's too much going on in this world today for people not to have this. I feel it's fundamental. It's fundamental information that we should all have. But for some reason, the powers that be don't feel like it's important enough to make sure everybody knows.
Look,
they use it like on a need to know basis. If you don't need to know, we're not gonna tell.
we're not gonna. Yeah, I think that they'll just abuse it. They're just gonna. I mean, you can start a business, but if they don't have the value in that business, they're just not gonna keep it going. You know, they can't run. I mean, some of them, not all of them, but most of them will. Most of them will just blow right through it. So, you know.
Yep. So I don't condone just giving large lump sums to the babies, but definitely the knowledge has to be.
No.
Like, I would be crazy enough to be like, I'm gonna need you to take some financial courses. I need a degree in something before I just like give you this, because especially if I use my blood, sweat, and tears to build it. It's like, it's my baby. I might choose this over you, because you know what I'm saying. Like, I might just have to make sure, but nah. But it's definitely education first and foremost.
And I really wish that they would implement this in schools too, because there's a lot of parents that don't. They don't teach it. It's like they know to teach their kids how to count money. And you know how much a dollar is and how much change to get back, and even the I ain't gonna say a name, but you know, ding 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 ding. You know how much money she gets from them kids who don't know how to count.
Right, and which is sad. But yeah, definitely.
I came in the house like, Mom, Miss So and So ain't give me my exact change. I said, well, don't tell her. I can tell the wrong person that. I said, absolutely. And so when they tell
money,
they was young, or you know,
that's your money, Miss keeping the change. Give me my quarters. Give me my quarters. But yeah, that's something I also started early with mine too. Like, you have a wallet. We're gonna go here. You're gonna pick out your purchases and you're gonna pay. Don't leave until you get your change. Like, because a kid will give the money and walk off like, wait a minute, you just gave her a $20 bill for a $1 item. Hold on. Let me show you how these bills work. One of these 20s equals 20 of these ones. Like, let me break this down for you so I can show you. But that's where I feel like we're different. But I will say this. I feel like more so, a lot more parents, a lot more people are educating their children than when we grew up. Yeah. There is a different wave that happened. I'm happy to be a part of it, like, because we took it upon ourselves to learn. So I'm teaching mine, you're teaching yours. Mm-hmm. We can't be the only ones. There's people that I follow on social media who are advocates for teaching their kids. I don't know if you've heard. It's a guy. I don't know his name. I ain't trying to plug him or nothing. but he has a board game. It's a board game about basically about financial literacy. I'll have to find his name. I can see his face. He got like all these tattoos and things all over his face, and he even said his reason for that is because he knew he never wanted to work for corporate America. He never wanted to be in a position where he couldn't be who he truly was. So that made it harder for himself and for his children and his businesses. He talks about all the different types of businesses that he has, but just things to pass down. Just things to pass down. But he has a board game that teaches, it's kind of like he said it's the opposite of Monopoly. Because, Monopoly is like get everything and win. You want to be the one that has the most stats.
I hate Monopoly. I'm just going to say, I aggravate me.
Yeah, I don't play that game. You can't bribe me to play Monopoly, okay? I can't do it. But he says basically the opposite. It's showing you how to diversify and how to get properties and how to spread it out that way. So I was thinking about getting it. We'll see. But it's just a lot more ways out here now that are teaching kids. I've even seen books, like kid books, where people are giving it to them on their level. So times are changing. Times are definitely changing.
That's the truth.
No knowledge to some knowledge, and then next will be most knowledge, which I'm all for.
It's a time of information. It really is. Like a lot of people, they teach their kids, they'll be like, well, you don't want to work for nobody. You want to work for yourself. Well, what they're not teaching them is that when you invest, when you have a business, you have to do like let's say a kid goes, they'll send their kids out, go cut some grass, they'll go and they'll pay $20 and then they'll be like, oh, I got $20. What they're not teaching them is to take that $20 and divide it up into how much loss you gonna cut for how much it cost your liabilities. How much did your liabilities cost? So how much gas did you use? How much maintenance did you just ruin on your lawnmower, your weed eater, whatever? How much string did you use? How much labor did it? And then, so there's your liabilities. They're not taught to separate these. And then they're not taught to pay themselves. Yep. And then take that other 65% of that $20 and put it into a savings account so that your business can build. I told a boy the other day, I said, you go on foot, you cut one neighbor's yard, you go down the line and you cut about 5 or 6 people's yard. You take that money, but you don't go blow it on candy, shoes, and whatever. Don't give it to your mama. You don't do that. You take the money, you separate it into, 65, 35 or 75, 25. And out of that 25%, you pay yourself and you put the rest, you invest the rest into your business so that you can pull out more. But see, that's something that has to be taught. And I think generational wealth is important when we give that information to our kids, because that, I think, is probably the most important generational wealth we could ever give our children, is that knowledge, kicking that knowledge and helping them to understand that don't be blowing them $100 just because it's cute.
Yeah, I like to tell my students, I'm like, they can take your house, they can take your car, they can take your job. But once you learn something, once you learn it, they cannot take it from you. If you learn a trade, if you learn something that makes money, you'll never be broke. Because if they take that, you just start it over again. Like, you have to learn something that is beneficial to you, something that's going to help you grow. It's not about material things. Like, I can't say I'm not a person, even with my children, I wasn't a person. I'm not buying the latest and greatest this and the latest and greatest that. For what?
Yeah.
For them to,
people don't have that stuff.
Girl, it was one Christmas. I don't even celebrate Christmas anymore, but this was probably like, how old is my youngest? It was probably about 6 years ago. The day after, they had all this stuff. I took my time. I wrapped everything up. They got all this gifts and toys and clothes or whatever. Do you know the next day them kids was fighting over a dang on laundry basket? I wish I was joking. A laundry basket. I'm like, you got scooters over here, you got easy bake ovens, you got all these material things on this side. y'all fighting over a laundromat that's been here since we lived here. Y'all fighting over. Okay, that might have been our last Christmas. I think it was.
That laundry basket was a car, and there.
It was a car. It was a spaceship. I don't know what it was, but they both wanted it at the same time. And now I don't think I did another. We've never celebrated after that. Like, we call it family day now, and we just, you ain't getting no gifts. I might give you a little bit of money, and that's about it.
Man,
like,
don't buy a new refrigerator. They gonna make something out the box.
Girl,
that's kids. You know, that's people don't. Sometimes I think that parents buy stuff like high price just as an image, because as soon as they put it on, they go take a picture of it.
Yeah. Yep.
These kids don't. I
keep it up with the Joneses.
I work in this mix.
Yeah. In the middle. Yep.
I was working for a lady one years ago. I was helping her over the weekend. I mean, over the summer, because she lost a lot of her crew. She owned a cleaning business in St. Augustine, and this was when I first started my photography business, because she thought I was playing when I said I was going to do it.
Right.
And so this was probably 2014 ish.
Okay.
So she goes and she starts here. She said, "What do you see?" We go and clean condos over in St. Augustine. And she said, "What do you see? What do you notice about these people's condos?" And I mean, you think of the word condo, you're like, "Oh, these people are rich," you know?
Right.
And she said, "What do you notice?" And I'm just like, I'm cleaning. I don't really. She said, "The TVs aren't the biggest. The TVs are not, the furniture is not the most expensive. Everything in here is." Like, they even had the TVs with the butts. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about with the butt? They even had the TVs with the butts. Like, they, you know, and these people are rich. Like, they live on the ocean line. Like, you know, right there on A1A.
They can afford to have.
They can afford it.
Whatever.
But that's why they're rich. Because they don't blow their money on necessary things. One of the men that owned the property walked in. That gentleman, he shops at Salvation Army.
Yep.
I mean, I don't care. But the point is, he ain't rocking the gold. You'd never know. And he, you know, they just look like just regular, normal people. Yep. And she said that's one of the keys to being rich. Is to not spending money unnecessarily.
Yeah.
I think that when we teach kids at a young age, when they be like, "Mommy, can I have $1?" and they go spend that whole dollar on a candy bar, and then turn around like, "Mama, I need 7 cents for the tax."
Right.
I think that we're actually teaching our children not to save their money.
We're teaching them to be consumers.
Yeah. Spend it. Spend it.
One of my sayings that I love, I tell people this all the time, is you don't become wealthy by spending frivolously. You don't. You don't become wealthy by spending frivolously. So that's buying. Hello? Everybody can see you, hear me.
Don't worry about it. I did it. It's my fault.
I was like, hello?
Got it. I did it. It's my fault.
Oh, all good. All good.
So my camera is a brat. My bad.
Good, look. But that's just something.
Your cousin over here talking trash.
What did he say?
He said, "Oh, so you trying to end the show?" No.
But yeah, if you think about it, think about a kid, a 2-year-old. Mom is buying baby 2-year-old who's growing every month. It seems like new Jordans, new LeBrons, new phone posits, new this, and he's gonna grow out of them. They're gonna grow out of them within a month, right? When in reality, all that baby want is some dang on light up shoes from Walmart.
Yes.
All you want to do Paw Patrol light up shoes. All he want to do is put on some Paw Patrols and jump around and have them light up. But the parent want that child to look so fresh, so fly in their mind that they're neglecting what this baby even want. Like, why are you sending this kid to school G'd up, GQ down? Like, that should be clothes saved for when y'all go somewhere, when y'all go to an event, when y'all have somewhere to be.
Yeah.
But just on the regular, and then you teaching them kids, oh, I have to be wearing Jordans on my feet. I have to be wearing name brand shoes. I have to be wearing name brand clothes, or people gonna talk about me. People gonna do this, and you build up, like you build I don't say a confidence, because that's not confidence. It's like if they don't have it, they're not confident. If they don't have it, they feel like they're lacking. And then you got the kids who, if they don't have it, they are picking on them. So it's like,
it's a lot of pressure, and it starts at a young age. And that's why even the schools started going to the uniforms, which that's long. But no. I personally agreed with the uniforms. You know, I didn't think it was such a bad idea. But they do. The moms, or you get the moms and dads that are GQ'd and their kids looking like who did it and what for. Yeah, like, you know, and then that teaches them the same thing. Like, we know what, when I get older, as an adult, I'm supposed to look good, and my kid's supposed to, you know, look like that. You know?
Yeah, passing along all kind of messages, subliminals, and things of that nature that people don't even understand that they're passing along. So it goes back to education.
And I think, and honestly, you know, I think generational wealth. I think that inheritance. It's great to have if there's a plan behind it, or if there's structure behind it, if there's some form of order behind it. Because when it's just like, okay, I passed away, here's $200,000, they're like, oh, I'm going on a shopping spree. First thing they buy is a car. I know that's what my family did. That's the first thing they did was bought a car. They bought two of them. Matter of fact, they were identical, and they ended up selling both of them because they ran out of money. The idea is gone. The idea of what to do with money when you have it is to consume it somewhere, is to put it somewhere, is to, you know, the whole idea with them giving us these stimulus checks and stuff is to boost the economy so people will spend it. Don't go save it. They said that. Did you hear them say that?
They don't want you to save it. They want you to spend it.
They said, don't be saving this money. We need you to put it in the economy so the economy will boost. Well, so
and the reason why we need the economy to boost is everything is shut down due to said situation. So yeah, so they need us to have that money to circulate. Yep.
But
people should when they start making billions of dollars out of nowhere. That should be a question.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, aren't we in debt? But like, talking about Obama just, you know, put us in debt. You know, what is that? Where's this coming from?
Oh yeah. That all kinds of questions I have. For sure.
Hey, they ain't fooling nobody. They ain't fooling nobody. Well, yes, they are. Let me tell you. Yes, they are.
There is a percentage of people. There's a percentage of folks.
They ain't fooling us.
We just gonna leave it at that.
So yeah, I think you're right about that, though. I'm gonna agree with that, because the best way that we could, I'm trying to think how it's said, but the best way to make us rich is to give us knowledge. And you know, the Bible even says that. Is to take in knowledge. It doesn't say take in money. You know, don't. Your love of money is the root of all envious things, anyways. But to take in accurate knowledge, not just knowledge just anywhere from anywhere, but accurate knowledge. And we can take in this knowledge. It makes us rich. My kids will tell us, "Mommy, we're rich," and then some people like, you know, y'all ain't rich. So, no, we're rich because we know more than you think we do.
Right.
We know how to do things that you should be taught how to do. So my children will tell you that we real wealthy. We real wealthy because they can take their money and put it here. And even at a young age, my oldest one, he goes to work with my nephew sometimes, and he takes that money and he puts it in his little saving spot. You know, his little what things called not saving. They're like they lock. What them things called?
A lock and a lockbox.
Safes. They're safes.
Okay, a safe.
So you know, he takes that money and he puts it there, and then you know, if he needs something, then he gets it. If he don't, it just stays there. But it's a matter of education. It's a matter of teaching beneficial information. You go to, there was a show I was watching, and the man was saving so he could send his kids to college. So I'm like, wait a minute. What if that child doesn't want to go to college? You got all this money set aside for this child to go to college. What if they don't want to go to college? Because I'll tell my kids in a heartbeat, y'all ain't going to college. For what? Go to a trade school, find out what it is that you want to do, learn that specific trade. Why do you think doctors go to school to be doctors, but then they turn out to be specialists? Because they focus on a specific part of the medical field. You'll have surgeons that, well, I'm not knowledgeable about your ears and your nose. You need to go to see one of them because they don't know. Even a doctor, you would think a medical doctor would know all that, but they don't because they specialize in specific areas. It's the same way with college. You'll have people go to school for business. What you going to school for business for? Right. I don't know. I just know that I'm going to school to master in education. And what you finna teach? I don't know yet. They don't know. They don't know why they're going to college.
They just have the idea it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go to college for something. Because that's what's beat into our heads. Graduate, go to college. Graduate, go to college, get a job, get married, have kids, die. That's the timeline. That's the timeline that we're fed throughout life. There's no in between. There's no time for you. There's no time.
I want to say thank you to Gavin and Jenny for sharing this live. I definitely appreciate that. So I want to make sure I shout y'all out while we was talking. So know that. But I agree. I definitely agree. Now, if Sophia will tell us what her Instagram is, and y'all can go follow her on Instagram.
My Instagram is deactivated right now because I'm actually taking a hiatus from social media for the most part right now. You know, every once in a while it's good to disconnect. So right now I'm disconnected.
Sometimes it tends to take over. I can definitely.
Oh yeah,
feel that.
I'm trying to focus in other areas right now. So I'm the type of person when I find myself I could be doing something like you're supposed to be doing something else. So when I can do that to myself, I'm like, all right.
Girl, that's self-discipline.
Let me cut it out for a bit. And
that's also good to teach kids too about self-discipline, because self-discipline is, they think that, if I got to beat myself to death, that's self-discipline. No, self-discipline is doing stuff that you need to do, even though you don't really want to do it. You like to do stuff like this, but you don't really need it. It's not benefiting you. And I think that just breaking it down, the best wealth we could ever leave behind is wisdom, knowledge and wisdom, because wisdom is the ability to take the knowledge and use it. So just giving them knowledge, like reading them a book ain't gonna do much to them. You can read all the books in the world and be stupid as all get out. But if you take that knowledge, you apply it, you show them how to, if you lead by example.
Girl, get out my head. I was just gonna say that.
Like Jenny just said, great minds think alike.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You got to show them how to apply it. And if you apply it to real world situations, then they can understand it better than hypotheticals. Like, hey, I definitely, I agree.
Me and you always had
I agree.
We always thought alike.
Yeah, I agree.
So, beyond all that materialistic stuff, we can leave it, but we got to teach them how to use it.
Yeah.
I don't know how. We'd have to be creative to be like, hey, I'm fixing to leave you. Before I die, I'm fixing to leave you $200,000. So let me tell you what you finna do with it.
You gotta write that down in the will. You gotta put that in. Okay. They might get mad and they hear that. I gotta build a fence. They might not want it.
The movie, I swear, it's called The Ultimate Gift.
They might not want it after they find out what they gotta do for it.
Girl, he has to find a friend. He has no real true friends. It can't be no just any friend that's using you or taking advantage of you, because he had a trust fund before his grandfather passed. He was blowing through. I think he got like a monthly allowance was what it was out of the trust. And he was just blowing it. Party at his house. So he had a lot of fake friends, because, you know, when you got that, you know, they ain't real friends.
Mm-hmm. They want you for what you do.
He had to find a true friend. She's lying. You gotta watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna find it. What is it on? Is it on?
Let me see where you can find it at. Because oh my gosh, I can watch that movie like 10 times over. It's funny too, because I mean he fights a real homeless man for a bench. It's funny. Like not like real fight, but it's funny. Oh my gosh.
Because you might have just gave me some ideas for my
when you watch it, you're gonna be like, oh,
grandkids and great grandkids.
You can let me see.
I want any of your grandma's millions.
I don't know.
Win the Atlantic twice.
Amazon. Maybe that's just the movie. It's on Prime.
Okay, I got Prime.
Yeah,
all right, that's all I need. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a. I mean, of course, you know, without saying, we could bootleg it.
I got Prime. I can watch it on Prime. I deleted Netflix. I got Hulu and Prime. That's about it.
Why you deleted Netflix?
Man, Netflix be playing. Okay, Netflix be playing.
Not for the cooties, or what was it? The cuties.
That's most of it. Like, you really put this show on? Like, okay.
Hey, I knew when Monique was having a fit about it, it was gonna be something.
Did you see any of it? Like, I watched
when they told me what it was about, I didn't even want to watch it.
So what it's about is girls in I can't remember what country they in, but basically they're covered up, they're modest, right? That's you know, in those Middle Eastern countries. I want to say it was probably like, don't get me the line. I don't know what country it was. I didn't watch it, but they're supposed to be modest and covered up, and they wear like the full burqas and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But she's wanting the little girl is wanting to basically hip hop dance, and the outfits that these girls are wearing are revealing. Their little shorts and their tank tops, and these are 11-year-old children, right? And then like the way the camera angles are, like the way things, like if they do a move, the camera's like right there. You're like, wait a minute.
So yeah, it's real.
It is. And then I did some research and I found that it was given an award. I ain't thinking about
it. For what?
Give it, girl, and like in another country, wherever the movie originated from, it was given an award, and they discovered that the individual who gave it the award had been charged with some child stuff himself.
Oh, now you know what?
It was like a film. How they have the film? What is the thing called?
Pedophiles.
Well, he had been charged with pedophilia, something like that. But it was at like a film festival. That's what it was. It was a film festival, and they gave it an award at the film festival. And the guy who gave it the award had not a clean background, and that was another controversy. Like, the dude who even gave it the award is not even a good dude. Like, how are you really gonna put this movie on? So, yeah, I don't know. And then my Netflix was supposed to be free with my T-Mobile account, and they started They started charging me,
Oh,
so bump you. I don't want it no more. I got 2 reasons to quit. I got 2 reasons. Plus Netflix got all the the movies. They take off all the good stuff and they put on stuff you've seen a million times. Like I'm good.
I don't mind watching the same movie over and over again. I don't watch TV like that anyways. But I don't like scary movies. I don't like to watch. There's certain movies they bore me. I'm one of those. I have to fall asleep with the TV's on anyway, so I'll find a movie that I don't like and I'll turn it on. Because if I watch a movie that I do like, I'm fixing to stay up.
You be up all night long. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna stay up all night.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's another example of the wealth, because wealth can be described as more than just material things. I mean, people say, oh, that person's wealthy. Okay, well, how wealthy are they? They got a bunch of money. Oh, okay, so that makes them wealthy. I'll tell you right now, money burns.
Yeah.
So does everything that's material. So as soon as I set your whole stack of money on fire and everything you got that's material, what you got? Let me get them clothes off your back too. Now what you got? Your naked body. You ain't got nothing but a stank attitude, and that's even worse because now you're ugly. So now what you got?
Think about you just ugly now. Yeah.
You're done for.
Like my shirt says happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that is that's my motto that I live by. And like you said, it don't mean just wealthy in money, wealthy in finances, wealthy in love, wealthy in happiness, wealthy in peace of mind, wealthiness in all kind of ways. So it's definitely more to it than money. Because you said money is the root of all evil. In my philosophy,
envious things.
Oh, okay. In my philosophy, I feel like it's the lack of, in a way, because a lot of people tend to do not so good things when they don't have the things that they, in their mind, think they need. So it's the lack of that makes people go out here and rob, steal, kill. It's the lack of that makes them want to sell their body, or you know what I'm saying, or steal from other people, scammers. And then it's also greed. So
not envious things, injurious things. I'm sorry. I'm saying your thing. That didn't sound right.
Yeah, both ways though. It could be. It's so many aspects and ways to look at it. So.
Yeah, the lack of money, but see, what I'm saying when I say that is the love of money is because they lack the money. If they loved it so much, they love money so much that they have to have it. See, people don't realize that there's ways to live without having a plethora of green stuff. When you use your money wisely, when you take the money and you don't blow it, when when you just don't take your money and you want to break into somebody's house and steal $100 only to just go and take it to the meth house and buy everything he got. So you have to be able to know how to use that money wisely and make that money work for you. So you're not going out there, that goes into investing and goes into mutual funds and annuities, is having that money work for you instead of you working for a bunch of money. And there's more wealth on that. That goes back to us giving them generational wealth. I'm just gonna stand with that. The best generational wealth you could ever give or leave to generations is wisdom and financial education. Because like we've been discussing, you can give somebody $100,000. They ain't gonna do nothing good. Look at these people. It ain't generational wealth. Look at these people that win the lottery.
Yeah.
Broke in 6 months and nothing to show.
Yeah. It's a mentality.
There's Duran Williams show. He says rich people with a filthy amount of money are more ruthless than broke people. They will do anything to not be separated from their class of people.
Yeah, that is true.
And I'm going to agree with that, because everybody thinks that they have to, like we were saying a while ago, keep up with the Joneses and the Smiths. You don't have to have that just because she got it. My grandma will cut her hair because that's the style. And I'll tell her, Grandma, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that don't look good on you.
everything that's the style is not for everybody, but I totally 100% agree. And then I feel like with that, I know this probably not on topic, but social media plays a big part in that too, because they feel like they gotta flex and show out for people,
Yep.
and just go above and beyond and show how happy they are, and how much new stuff they have. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what's the purpose?
Or you got them people that be up there talking about some with all
With the phone.
like it's money. Yeah, they might have printed that off and cut it out. You don't know if that's fake. Shit, that might be someone.
Right. You gotta order it off Amazon. Sell fake money on Amazon.
Trying to flex with somebody you don't even know what they or you want to be. You know, when a lot of these boys, they want to be like these drug dealers who have all this money, and then you be like, well, where that drug dealer at right now? Oh, he doing some time, but he coming home. That repeat that.
Yeah, exactly. That, and then it goes back to we're taught to be consumers. We're taught to buy and spend money and boost the economy. We're taught to do that.
Programmed that way.
Program.
Especially since and this is a whole different topic, but especially since like the 60s and 70s when they started removing men from households. When they started the government started making it their business to remove a man from a household, you know, and instead of they started having the women rely on the government. So now you got women that's on everything under the sun, and they feel like they have to stay there. They have to be there. You know, some people need assistance. They get it, and then they move on. But then you have some people who that's their way of life. They don't do any other thing except that check at the first of the month and the one in the middle of the month, or however it works.
And that could be passed down. That could be generational also. If that person saw their mom do it, and their mom saw their grandma do it,
yeah,
that's all they know. And I talked about that. I talked about that the other day with my cousin. She's a senior in high school, and she told me that like all the girls that graduated last year, not all of them, but a good percentage of them are already either pregnant or have had a baby. And I'm thinking to myself, honey, you haven't even given yourself a chance to live. You haven't even given yourself a chance to grow before you put yourself right into a situation to need help. You're 18. Like what job do you have that's lucrative enough to help care for this baby? You're going to have to depend on your parents. You have to depend on your family. You have to depend on his family. You didn't set yourself up to be financially stable before you decided to be sexually active. So it's a balance. It's all about, you said it, knowledge. If they know better, they do better. So I preach to my little cousins all the time about going to the military, because I feel like the military, it's not for everybody, but if you can do it, because you get so many great benefits for doing it. They give you a house loan. They give you a small business loan. Like what other job or career is going to give you those type of things? Once you complete 4 years with them, 4 years, that's all it takes. And I forgot to say, and they also pay for your school. Who's going to do that? Unless you have, I don't know. I don't know any other companies that do that. So for me, I preach that, and I'll continue to preach it till I'm blue in the face. It ain't for everybody. I'm not saying that everybody should join, but if you can, you should. And it also teaches great skills. Like it's all kind of skills. Integrity is a big one that a lot of people don't have, and that's one of the core values, especially in the Air Force. That's a core value in the Air Force. So doing what's right when nobody else is around. And I teach my girls that too. Like one time she was like, well, you can just do it, nobody. And I was like, but I'll know.
Yeah.
I will know. And that's enough.
That's right.
That's enough right there for me to know that I did it. So definitely we got to inform our children so that way they're informed on what it is to be financially free, to be able to make investments, to be able to leave something back if they so choose. We got to make the knowledge readily available. Whether they absorb it, whether they take it, is on them and we have to give it.
I think that if a child that is left $5,000 or $10,000, but has financial education, and understands what and what not to do, is going to be better off than one who doesn't have it, and you hand them $10 million, whatever. They're going to be better because they're going to blow through the money. But this child here that had this little bit of $10,000 is going to be able to flip it in our terminology, or invest it. They're going to be able to have that money working for them. And it may take a little while for them, but they'll be able to take that money and do something with it instead of just blow it and then they ain't got nothing to show for it. So there is a way to create generational wealth, but even as us parents now, if we're going to be creating it, we have to be smart about it. We have to be wise about it, and we have to be able to give them something that they're going to be able to run with, that they're going to be able to take and use. And material things are great, but not everybody's going to be doing the greatest with them, Right. But at least if you're giving them knowledge and teaching them moral standards and how they can handle financial monies and things like that, then at least they'll be able to run with it. At least they'll be able to do something with it.
Yes, ma'am.
So with that being said, you have anything else that you want to cover?
No, I think we kind of encompassed everything I could think of and more. So yes, I'm good.
I think we did. I think we pretty much covered that. That was a really good topic because I was thinking it might go into material things and stuff like that. But I think that we've really brought out the fact that wealth is much more than materialistic things. It's much more than money. And so I like that.
You can't pass. I mean, you could, but you can't really pass down a shoe collection. You know what I'm saying? Like they might get a couple dollars for each pair, but that's no fortune. That's with that. They can't pass down your name brand clothes because you know what I'm saying. So that stuff is out the way.
For the birds. So y'all, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining me and Sophia while we talked about generational wealth. If you have not done so already, subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you hit notification bell and select all, like, comment, and share this video. Also, make sure that you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. With that being said, y'all, we're going to catch y'all on the flip side.
I love